Today we're talking about J10, the Discretionary Investment Management exam. The CII's J10 exam in Discretionary Investment Management can be sat to achieve the diploma in financial planning or to count towards the advanced diploma to achieve chartered status. Discretionary Investment Management develops knowledge and understanding of the role of the discretionary investment manager and the ability to analyse and apply financial information and portfolio management skills. It starts by looking at the investment advice process and establishing client relationships. Asset classes, investment strategies and investment wrappers are covered next, including the main asset classes: cash, bonds, equities and property, alternative investments and derivatives, and investment tax wrappers. The role of the investment manager is then considered, followed by discretionary and advisory management. The study text then moves on to look at investment funds, the economic environment, investment returns and investment risk. Portfolio theory, so principles and limitations, are also considered, followed by measuring portfolio performance and understanding investment data. And lastly, financial mathematics and resources of information. At the end of the unit, you should be able to demonstrate an understanding of the behaviour, performance, risk profile and correlation of key investment types, discretionary and non-discretionary portfolio management, and the principles of performance measurement, financial analysis and ratio analysis, the principles of portfolio management, and portfolio theory. The assessment is a 2-hour exam with 90 multiple choice questions. Section A contains 70 standard multiple choice questions, and Section B contains 4 case studies, each comprising 5 multiple response questions. The nominal pass mark is 65%, and the 2021 pass rate was 93%, so very high. You gain 20 credits upon successful completion, and you need approximately 80 hours of study time to be able to pass the exam successfully. For a CII member, the cost of J10 is £188, and for a non-member it's £266. J10 overlaps with the Advanced Diploma Unit AF4, so if you're studying for AF4 already, you may as well take J10, as likely it is you already have the knowledge to pass it, and that's exactly what I did. So let's talk about some study tips. As with all exams, you should work smarter, not harder, and it's about the quality, not the quantity of studying that you do. You need to know what exam preparation works best for you, but also what areas to focus on. Make sure you use past papers that you can access on the CIO website called Exam Guides. If you go to the qualification section, you can generally download the past 1 or 2 exam papers and have a go at them. I would suggest doing this at the start of your preparation so you can identify the gaps in your knowledge from the word go, and then have another attempt when you're halfway through your exam preparation to see if you've plugged those gaps or to see how well you're doing. It's always advisable to do them under timed conditions so you can see how you would do in the exam. It's better to study in short bursts of time than it is to sit down for hours on end and try and cram in as much as you can. 15 to 20 minute bursts is the most helpful way to do this. So do a short session of 15 to 20 minutes and then go and do something that's not very challenging. So go and make yourself a cup of tea or a sandwich, and when your brain's turned off, you'll actually soak in some more of that information that you've just been learning about, and your brain will process it better. Then you can go back and have another 15 to 20 minute session once you've let that soak in for say 10 minutes. Do this over an hour with 2 slots of learning with a short break in between, and you can build up a study plan around that. If you're someone that likes visual learning, then things like mind maps or spider charts might be really helpful, because putting that information into a visual form will make it more likely that you'll remember it. If you're struggling to retain some information in particular, then something you can do is to pick up an inanimate object, say a child's teddy bear or a doll or a toy that you have lying around, and try and put what you've learned into your own words to explain to that object. It might seem ridiculous when you do it, but actually in the exam you'll remember that situation, and it should help to cement that with you because you'll remember it in a particular setting. It may also bring a smile to your face in the exam. If visual memory is not your thing and you actually work better with words, then try and build stories around what you're trying to learn. Stories are a lot easier to remember than textbooks and paragraphs of writing. You're likely to remember those more easily, especially if you put character names in. Build characters and stories around the objects and the circumstances that you're trying to remember. Another good tip is to try and make up songs to go with your learning, whether that's making them up on your own or putting lyrics to songs or tunes that you already know. This also makes learning more fun. A really helpful study tip is to try and learn on the go in those dead pockets of time you get when you're commuting or at the gym or going for a run. Try and use those pockets of time to either listen to an audiobook, try to recall some of the things that you've learned, or take your textbook with you if you're sitting on a train and you're commuting somewhere. Investment ratios tend to be tested often in J10, so things like earning per share, price earnings ratio, dividend yield and dividend cover, so make sure you sweat up on these. Now let's move on to exam tips. So it's a 90 question exam over 2 hours, so you have just over a minute to answer each question. Make sure you're breaking each question down and understanding what you're being asked, especially with the case studies. There is never useless information in a CII exam question, so make sure you know exactly what you're being asked to do. There's no negative marking in CII exams, so if you really have no idea, just take a guess. I find the best thing to do is to go through the exam from questions 1 to 90 and answer every question, even if you're not sure. Put any answer just in case you get to the end and you run out of time. At least then you would have had a guess. You can flag questions you don't know as you go through, so answer every question, but flag the ones you're not sure of, and then if you do get time at the end, you can go back to those flagged questions. but it's always worth having a guess because you will not get marked down if it's wrong. Overall, make sure you're being efficient with your time in the exam and that you're answering every question as you go through. Best of luck to you.